Hi, in this session we will discuss how we can configure the transactional apps and how we can configure the fact sheets in SAP Fiori. So first of all, let's discuss the project phases which are there in SAP Fiori. So we have divided the project phases into two parts, the phases which are conducted on the platform side, and after that the phases which are conducted on the application side. So in the starting we have to verify and prepare the SAP backend system. So we have to validate the prerequisites, we have to verify the solution manager readiness, then we have to deploy the SAP nodes. After that we have to do the infrastructure installation, that is the SAP NetWeaver gateway, SAP UI add-on. So all these things we have to make them ready. Then we have let's come to the network and security configuration. So we have to maintain the network and security configuration. So basically all the services like SAML, SSO2, all they come under the security configuration. We have to secure the backend channel, proxy or the dispatched configuration. So all these things they come under the platform side phases which need to be conducted before we start. So these are the three steps which we need to do under the platform side, that is verify and prepare the backend, then infrastructure installation, and then the network and security configuration. Then let's come to the application side. So in this we have to first do the standard application installation and configuration, then the workflow application installation and configuration. After that we have to set up the roles, users, home page and workflow configuration, then integrating the SAP Fiori apps with the SAP mobile platform, and then the basic branding. So this is the complete project phases that comes under a SAP Fiori project. So we start by verifying and preparing our backend SAP system, then we conduct the installation, then we do the configuration and the security. So basically after that we have to move to the application side, wherein we have to set up the roles, users, we have to do the integration of the Fiori apps with the mobile platform if we want. So all these things they come under the application side phases. Now let's come to the configuration of apps. So before configuring anything we have to first complete the infrastructure of SAP Fiori apps that must be installed. So once it is done we have to configure the backend and the front end servers. So the configuration for SAP Fiori apps is divided into two parts: configuration of transactional apps and the fact sheets, then the configuration of analytical apps. So we will be like covering the configuration of transactional apps and the fact sheets, and we will be covering the configuration of analytical apps in a different session after this. Now in the overview like this is actually telling us like what are the different tasks that needs to be performed under the different server. So first of all what are the tasks that need to be configured, that need to be done at the SAP Web Dispatcher side. So for the SAP Web Dispatcher, first of all we have to configure the SAP Web Dispatcher. After that we have the backend server. It is mainly for the fact sheets. So we have to configure the enterprise search, we have to activate the search and the fact sheets in the SAP Business Suite Foundation. So this step is only for the fact sheets. It is not required for the transactional apps. Then we have the front end server. So on the front end server side we have to do the steps like configuring the SAP NetWeaver gateway, which means that we have to connect the SAP NetWeaver gateway to the SAP Business Suite. We have to create the system aliases for the applications. We have to activate the OData services. Then we have to specify the language settings. So these are the four subparts which need to be done under the configuration of SAP NetWeaver gateway. Then we have the configuration of central UI add-on. So in this we have to set up the SAP Fiori Launchpad. Then at last we have to do the configuration of product specific UI add-on. So underneath we have to activate the ICF services. We have to set up, we have to do the setup of catalogs, groups, roles in the SAP Fiori Launchpad. Then at last we have the backend server configuration, which is actually for the transactional apps and fact sheets both. So in this we have to set up the roles, users and authorizations on the backend server. So we basically do the copying and the adjusting of the roles. We assign the users to the roles. So these are the four major servers on which we have to do the different tasks whichever are applicable for my transactional apps and which are applicable for my fact sheets. So my step 1 is actually mandatory for both the transactional apps and the fact sheets. My step 2 is only applicable for the fact sheets. So step 2 is basically after that we have to configure the front end server, and this is done again for both transactional apps and the fact sheets. Then we have the step 4, which is the configuring the backend server, and this is also done for transactional app and the fact sheets. So viewing from the higher level, we have to set up the roles, users and authorizations. So my transactional apps can run on any DB, whereas my fact sheets can run on only the HANA systems. So now let's move to the next slide. So this is basically this slide is basically showing us the differences which are lying between the configuration of my transactional apps and my fact sheets. So first of all, setting up of this one, the SAP Web Dispatcher, that is the first step, so that we have to do for both of them. After that we have to set up the search models. So we can see here as a step 2, which is only for the fact sheets. It is not applicable for my transactional apps. Then the third one is by configuring my front end server, which is again applicable for both of my transactional app and the fact sheets. Then we have the configuration of backend server, which is also applicable for both the app types. So we have to make sure that we have applied all the required SAP nodes. So we have to double check the administrator guide and the nodes search in SAP Service Marketplace. After that, we have to make sure that the backend system functions are up and running, which includes the ERP, SRM, CRM, PPM. So we have to make sure that all the functions are up and running. Then we have to ask the customers to create the sample data and provide the information like the user ID, transaction code, object ID or the document number, and then the screenshot of the data. Now, so these are the configuration tips which are actually applicable when we are doing the configuration of my SAP Fiori apps. That is basically we have to make sure that all the nodes are applied, then the backend system functions are up and running, which we have just discussed. Now, so first of all, let's start with the transactional apps overview. So we have already covered the transactional apps overview in detail in the initial sessions. So I will not be spending much time on the transactional app overview, but this is just to provide a high level idea of what it is. So my transactional apps are those apps that let us perform the transactional task, such as creating a leave request for an employee. So these apps represent simplified views and interaction with the existing business processes. So my transactional apps run best on an SAP HANA database, but can also be ported to other databases with acceptable performance. So we can see in this slide that first of all we have the SAP Web Dispatcher, then the request will go to my ABAP front-end server. So in the ABAP front-end server we have the product specific UI add-ons and we have the infrastructure. Then using the trusted RFC, my front-end server will communicate with my back-end server, wherein I have my all the business logic, all the business functions residing. Then we can have the HANA DB or any DB. So transactional apps are the only apps which can use any DB or HANA. Otherwise, for the fact sheets and the analytical apps, HANA-DB is must as a database. So we cannot use any other DB for analytical apps as well as the fact sheets. Now, after that, let's see the overview of my fact sheets. So fact sheets will display the contextual information about the central objects used in our business operations. So let's take an example. If someone using the sales order approval app, they could have a link to a specific sales order fact sheet. So the fact sheets can be called from the SAP Fiori Launchpad, from the other fact sheets, or from the transactional or analytical apps. So the data displayed from fact sheets is immediately derived from the SAP HANA database through search models. So the fact sheets can only be run with an SAP HANA database. So the fact sheets cannot be ported to the SAP HANA live architecture. So these are the few features of my SAP Fiori fact sheets. So in this slide we can see that the SAP Web Dispatcher, we first on the top we have the SAP Web Dispatcher. After that we have the front end, and then we have the backend server. So my search models, they reside in my backend server, and as a lowest layer we have the HANA DB. So we cannot have any other DB except for SAP HANA for my fact sheets. Now these are the installation and the configuration tasks which we need to do for the transactional apps and the fact sheets. So the first 5 tasks are the installation tasks, which we will not be covering in this session, and they will be getting covered in the installation session of after this configuration session. So the implementation task includes the check prerequisites. After that we have to install the required SAP NetWeaver gateway components. Then we have to install the central UI add-ons. Then we have to install the product specific UI add-ons, and then we have the check and install all relevant SAP nodes. So these 5 are the installation steps which we need to perform. So all these steps are applicable for both my transactional apps as well as my fact sheets. Then starting from the 6th till 11th we have the configuration steps, so which we will be discussing in this session. So first configuration step is that I have to configure my SAP Web Dispatcher. So it is not relevant for my transactional apps, but it is relevant for my fact sheets. After that we have the configure SAP NetWeaver gateway. So it is relevant for both my transactional apps as well as my fact sheets. Then we have to configure our central UI add-ons. So again it is applicable for the transactional apps as well as the fact sheets. Then we have to configure the product specific UI add-ons, which is again applicable for transactional app and fact sheets. Then we have to configure the backend. So for the transactional apps I can copy and adjust the delivered backend roles and assign users to them. Similarly, for the fact sheets also we have the predefined roles which are provided by SAP. So we can just copy them and we can adjust them as per our requirement, and then we can assign our users to them. Lastly, we have the configuration of enterprise search. So this is not relevant for my transactional apps, but they are relevant for my fact sheets. So these are the configuration tasks which we need to perform when we are configuring our transactional apps and the fact sheets. So we will be discussing all of these steps in detail in this session. Now, first of all, we have the configure SAP Web Dispatcher. So my Web Dispatcher gets implemented between the browser and the various servers in the system landscape. So this ensures the incoming SAP Fiori requests are routed to the correct server. So the prerequisites for this are that we have implemented the SAP Web Dispatcher and enabled it for multiple systems. Then we have enabled the single sign-on. Now The procedure for configuring the SAP Web Dispatcher is that we have to configure the SAP Web Dispatcher to use HTTPS request. Then we have to configure the Web Dispatcher ports. Then we have to configure SAP Web Dispatcher for the SAP NetWeaver Gateway server. Then as a fourth step, we have to configure SAP Web Dispatcher for the front-end server. Then define the routing rules to the required target system. So these are the configuration steps of my SAP Web Dispatcher. Now, after that, let's come to the configuration of SAP Gateway. So first of all, we have to configure the Web Dispatcher, then the configuration of SAP Gateway. So the first step in the configuration of SAP NetWeaver Gateway is that I have to connect my SAP NetWeaver Gateway to my SAP Business Suite. So we must define a trust relationship between our SAP system and the SAP NetWeaver Gateway host by configuring the SAP system to be the trusting system and the SAP NetWeaver Gateway host to be the trusted system. By doing so, we enable the remote logon for the users who use the same user data in both SAP NetWeaver Gateway host and the SAP system. So there is an overview of the sequence for establishing the trust in our system landscape. So first of all, in the SAP system, we have to configure the SAP system as the trusting system. So we have to create an RFC destination for use in the trust configuration. Then we have to define the system to be the trusting system using the transaction SMT1. After that, we have to configure the system to create and accept assertion tickets from the SAP NetWeaver Gateway host using the SSO2 wizard. Now in the SAP NetWeaver Gateway host, first of all, we have to configure the SAP NetWeaver Gateway host as a trusted system. So we have to create an RFC destination for communicating with the trusting RFC, the SAP system. After that, we have to configure the SAP NetWeaver Gateway host to create and accept the assertion tickets from the SAP system using the SSO2 wizard. So basically these are the two steps which we need to do when we have to connect our SAP NetWeaver Gateway to the SAP Business Suite. So first of all, we have to configure the SAP NetWeaver Gateway host as a trusted system, and after that we have to set up our system landscape for establishing the trust using the we have to configure the SAP system as a trusting system. So now let's see in the system like how we configure our SAP system as a trusting system. So we have to go log into our system remote desktop where we have our SAP Fiori installed. So just a minute, it is taking a bit time. I'll just check that. Okay, so it's here. So first of all, I have to go to my backend system because I have to configure my SAP system as a trusting system. So I'll just log into my backend system. After that, I have to go to the transaction SM59. So once I'm in the transaction SM59, I have to click on this create. Then in the RFC destination, I have to give the SID of my gateway. Then this is the naming convention which we have to follow. So we have to give the SID of the gateway. After that, we have to write down the client and the client number. So basically I'll take the SID of my system, that is the EHP, and then I have to write down CLNT and then my client number. Then I have to choose the connection type as 3. So my if I go to the F4 help, I can see the description of the connection types. So 3 stands for my connection to a BAP system. So I'll choose 3 here, and after that in the description I have to write down, say, RFC destination to gateway server. After that I have to, under the technical settings, I have to enter the gateway host to the target host field and its instance number to the system number field. So I have to write down the target host in which I have to give my gateway IP. So I'll go back here, I'll take the configuration from my logon pad for my gateway system. So this is my gateway system. I'll go to the properties, I'll copy this, and my instance number is 49. So I can again go back to my system here. I have to enter the target host, which is my SAP gateway server. Then in my instance, the system number, I have to give my instance number, which is 49. So if I go here, it will automatically pick up the name and the, so it has taken up the name of my target host and it has taken the IP of it as a IP address. So after that we have to click on save. So it might give me an error because I have already created this with the same name. So let's try. Yes, so it says that the destination already created because I already have the RFC destination with the same name. So I can either change it to this one and I'll try to save it now. So if I scroll down, so I can see that the destination saved. So after that I have to go to the transaction SMT1. In this basically we have to create here, we have to go to this, we have to create a new one, and if I click on this create, I have to enter the destination which we have just created in the destination field, and then we have to click on continue. So if I go here, in this I have to enter the RFC destination which we have just created, and after that we have to click on this continue button. So that this way the information of my trusted system will be displayed, and then we have to click on save. So let's say if I give the RFC destination as EHP CLINT, and then I have to click on continue. So it is asking me for the username and the password here. So I have to just enter the password of my system. So it says that the trusted system entry for the system AHG already exists. So it is similar similar error which we get at the time of creating the this one, the trusting system in SM59. So since we already have this, so we can just use the existing one. But if it is not existing, then it will create the new entry and we can use that entry from here. So if I cancel this wizard, I can see this, I have this AHE. If I click on this display, So I can see that under the technical settings that it is my using my same application server which was there for my gateway system. So this way we have to create this one, my backend server, as a trusting system. Now let's go back to the PPT. So now we have seen that how we can configure the backend server as a trusting system. So the next steps is that I have to configure my SAP gateway server as the trusted system by creating a type 3 RFC destination on gateway to the backend. So we have just now created the backend system as a trusting system. So the next step is that I have to configure my gateway server as a trusted system. So how we do that is that we have to go to the transaction SPRO. After that we have to manage the RFC destinations there. Then we have to create a new RFC destination. Similar way, after that, once we are done with all the settings, then we have to save this settings. So let's see how we do that in the gateway system. So let's go back to our system. So let's log into the gateway system. Which is my front end. So I'll just continue with this logon. Now in this we have to go to the SPRO transaction, which is basically, now in the SPRO transaction we have to click on this SAP reference IMG. We have to go to this one, the SAP customizing implementation guide. Under that we have to expand this SAP NetWeaver gateway, then go to the gateway, then we have to expand the OData channels, then the configuration, then the connection settings, and under that we have the SAP NetWeaver gateway to SAP system. So in this we have to go to the manage RFC destinations. We have to click on this activity. Now once we have clicked on this activity, we can create the RFC destination here. So we can directly go and we can choose the create from here. So if I go to the ABAP connections which are already there, so we already have the connections for it. So if I see this connection which is a Fiori backend, so we can I can go to the display and I can see that we already have this connection to my backend system to make my SAP gateway server as a trusted system. So in this what we have done is that we, in the RFC destination, we have to give the name of my backend system. So generally we follow the convention like SID of the backend system, then CLNT, and then the client number. Then again similar to the backend system, we have to give the connection type 3, which is for my ABAP connection, and after that we have to give the description, that is the RFC destination to my SAP backend. Now under the technical settings, we have to enter the backend host, that is my backend host as a target host, and the instance number as my system number field. After that if we go to the logon and the security tab, so in the logon and the security tab we have to enter the client number of the backend, and then we have to click on the checkbox of current user, or if we want then we can use the username and the password as a hard-coded. And if we don't want that, then we have to check this checkbox as a current user. So after doing all these settings, we have to use this and select yes for the trust relationships. So for the trust relationships, we have two options, yes and no. So if we choose the current user, then we have to choose this option of trust relationship as yes. So and so after, like, once we are done with these settings, we have to click on save. So once we will click on save, so we will be we have configured our SAP NetWeaver Gateway server as a trusted system. So basically we have to log into the gateway system, and we can see the trusted host displayed. So now let's go back to the PPT. So till now, in the configuration of the SAP NetWeaver Gateway system, we have done two steps. The first one was to make my backend system as a trusting system, which we do by going to the transaction SM59, and we can use SMT1. And after that, we have to, this as a second step, we have to make my SAP NetWeaver Gateway as a trusted system. So which we do by going into the transaction SPRO, and there we have to create a RFC destination. Now the third step is that we have to create the system alias for the application. So we should define the two system aliases, one for the backend and another one is for the backend workflow. So basically like this is the third step in the configuration of my SAP NetWeaver Gateway. So a system alias adds an additional layer to the RFC destination to allow for the decoupling of the gateway service and the RFC destination. So if we are planning to use any of the workflow apps, we emphasize that we have to use the two system aliases, one for the backend and another one for the business workflow. So we need to select the local app checkbox for the PGW alias because the IW underscore PGW is part of the gateway component. So this checkbox points the RFC to the backend. So we'll notice from the image that both of these entries points to the same RFC destination. The naming convention can be whatever we want, but we must ensure the system ID and the client number are populated. So this way we have to then create the system aliases, the two system aliases, one for the backend and one for the backend workflow. After that, the next step is that we have to activate the OData services. So this is the fourth step in the configuration of my gateway system. So the Launchpad and the Launchpad Designer needs a reverse proxy to direct the browser request to either the front-end system in which the JavaScript sources are stored, or to the SAP Gateway system in which the OData services are located. So we should enable the gateway service with transaction SPRO. After that, we have to activate the OData service for the Launchpad Designer. Then when activating the OData services, the system alias must be the local system. So basically these are the steps which we need to follow when we are activating the OData services. So first of all, we have to enable the gateway service with the transaction SPRO. After that, we have to navigate to the customizing activities again in the SPRO transaction, and when activating the OData services, the system alias must be the local system. So these things we have to keep in mind when we are working with the activation of the OData services. So let's go back to the system and see how it works in the SAP Fiori system, like how we have to activate the services here. So let's log in back to the system. So in this system, we have to again go back to the SPRO transaction. Now we have to go to the SAP reference IMG, then the SAP NetWeaver, then Gateway, OData channel, Then we have to go to the configuration, and in that we have the activate or deactivate SAP NetWeaver gateway. So in this we can see that the SAP NetWeaver gateway is currently active. So basically if it is the first time when we are doing the configuration, so it must be inactive and we have to make it active by going through the SPRO navigation path. But since it is already active, so I will just cancel it and I'll go back to my transaction. After that we have to navigate to the customizing activity. So in the SPRO again we have to go to the SAP NetWeaver, then the gateway. Inside the gateway we have to go to the OData channel, then the administration. Instead of the configuration we have to go to the administration, then the general settings, and then the maintain and activate and maintain the services. So if we go here in activate and maintain the services, we have to activate the few services which are meant for the Launchpad Designer. So basically we have to like activate these services which are there for the Launchpad Designer. So which are those services are like we have to activate the page builder conf, then the page builder cust, then the page builder parts, and then the transport and interop. So basically if I scroll down a bit, so I'll be able to see all these services which are there. So these services are actually meant for my Launchpad Designer. So we have to activate these services once we are into this transaction. So we can select the service, and then after that we have to go to the, so let's say if I have to search that service, I have to select that service, and once the service is selected, so I have to just go to this ICF note. I can go here and I can click on activate directly. So like these services, all the services which are meant for the Launchpad Designer, so these services we have to go and activate one by one. And we have to make sure that when we are activating these services, the system alias here, it must be the local system. So this way we have to activate the services which are meant for my Launchpad Designer. So let's go back to the PPT. Now once we are done with this, after that we have to specify the language setting. So this is the step which is again like after doing the configuration of my SAP NetWeaver gateway. So now once we are done with it, after that we have to specify the language setting of it. So for this one I have to specify the settings for supported languages in the SAP NetWeaver gateway system. So the default language of the SAP NetWeaver gateway system must be the same as the default language of the backend system. So let's say if it is English, then it has to we have to use it as English only. So this is the step which is again the part of the configuration of my SAP NetWeaver gateway, wherein I have to specify the language settings. So I can change as we can see in this screenshot. So by default the language chosen here is the English, but we have the other languages option which we can use. So this is the final configuration step for my SAP NetWeaver gateway. So when specifying the languages, there are few priorities that take place. So if you define the access language in the transaction SICF, then that takes the precedence. If not, the HTTP request contains the language in the HTTP header, and we will log into the system with this language. then the browser settings of the calling client are used. So if no language is defined by any of the mentioned processes, then the classic SAP system mechanisms are used, whereas the logon language is based on the user settings as defined in SU01. So these are the few precedences which we have to keep in mind when we are setting up the language settings. After that, so these are the basically the steps which were involved in the configuration of my SAP NetWeaver gateway. Now, once the SAP NetWeaver gateway system is installed and configured, the next step is the configuration of my central UI add-on. So if I go here, so in that we have to first configure the SAP Fiori Launchpad. So configuring the SAP Fiori Launchpad requires the following prerequisites, that is, activate the OData services in the backend system, then activate the ICF services in the backend system. After the prerequisites are met, the high-level 4-step process need to be configured. That is, setting up the navigation for applications, creating the catalogs and tiles, assigning the catalogs to the roles, and after that providing the users access to the launch page. So if we go into the configuration of SAP Fiori Launchpad steps one by one, so first of all we have to activate the OData services. So in this we have to go to the transaction SPRO, and after that we have to activate the OData services which are meant for my Fiori Launchpad. So once we can see in this slide that we are in the SPRO transaction, so we have to traverse to the path which is again the activate this one, the SAP NetWeaver. Then under the gateway we have to go to the OData channel. Then under the administration we have to go to the activate and maintain services. Once we are there, we will be able to see all these services which are there for my Fiori Launchpad. Once it is done, after that we have to go to this ICF node and we have to activate the service. So this way we can activate the OData services for my Fiori Launchpad. After that, the next step is that we have to activate the ICF services. So we have to follow the path depicted in the slide and we have to execute the activate and maintain services. Now after that we have the ICF services. So my ICF is Internet Communication Framework. It is an integrated component of the SAP Web Application Server. It provides an environment for handling the HTTP request in the ABAP work process of an SAP system. So my SAP Web AS can process these HTTP requests using the ICF as a client or a server. So because these services are not activated by default, we need to go into the system and we have to turn them on. So basically we have to go to the transaction SICF, then we have to execute default host, we have to follow the paths to locate the ICF services we need to activate. After that we have to right click on the service and we have to activate it finally. So this way we have to activate the SIF services. So let's go back to the system and see how we need to do it. So if I go back to my system here and if I go to the transaction SICF, so under the SICF if I go here on the execute under the default host, so we can see the path from here. If I go here to the SAP, then BC, Under that we have this UI5 underscore UI5. Then we have this SAP. So we can check for the ICF services here. So we can just like select any of this service which we want to activate. We have to say if I want to activate this service. So I can just select it. I can right click it, and after that I can click on this activate service to activate this service. So this way we have to activate all the services which are required for my this one, the Fiori Launchpad. So this is the step when we have to configure the central UI add-on. After that, once we have activated the OData services and the ICF services, so these are basically the ICF services which must be active in the backend system for my SAP Fiori Launchpad. Then we have to set up the navigation targets. So to set up the navigation targets, we have to go to the transaction which is LPD cust, and in this we have to configure the new Launchpad, and we have to enter the credentials and we have to save it. So these are basically the steps which are required to configure the SAP Fiori Launchpad, and we will be covering all these steps in detail in the session of configuring the SAP Fiori Launchpad. So for now we have to just keep in mind that for the this one, the configuring the central UI add-on, we have to first configure the SAP Fiori Launchpad. So for that we have to meet some prerequisites, which is like activating the OData services, then activating the ICF services, and once the prerequisites are met, after that we have to set up the navigation for the application. We have to create the catalogs and tiles, then we have to assign the catalogs to the roles, and at last we have to provide the users with the access to the launch page. So we will be setting up we will be like watching all these steps in detail once we will be configuring the SAP Fiori Launchpad. After that, once we are done with the setting up of the web dispatcher, the SAP NetWeaver gateway, and the central UI add-ons, now the next step is to configure the product specific UI add-ons. So the product specific UI add-on contains the components that are required for specific apps. So some of these app specific components need to be configured, which we will be actually discussing in this session. So we have now let's go here, that is the activate ICF services. So we have seen this before and we have already activated the central UI add-on on ICF services. Now we will need to go in and activate the central services relevant for the specific SAP Fiori app and the services we want to use. So we can find the app specific information in the implementation guide. Again, for the security reasons, all the internet services are made available in the inactive state. So we have to go manually and we have to check this. We have to activate these services one by one. So let's see how we can activate these services and how we can activate these services in the system. So if I go back to my system, so in this again I have to go to the transaction which is SICF. Now if I go into the execute, default host, SAP, then if I expand this node BC, under that we have the UI5 underscore UI5. If I expand this, then we have this SAP. So under this we can see all the ICF services which are meant for my particular app. So if I go to my SAP Fiori home page, that is the help page, I will be able to see which all ICF services are required to be activated for a particular app. So I can take it from there, and I can in this I can see that we have these services which are for the approved travel expenses, my travel request, my benefits, my leave request. So depending on the app type I want to activate, so I have to activate the services from here, and the process is still the same, that I have to select this, I have to go to right click, and I have to click on this activate service. So this way we have to activate like the services which are meant for my central UI components. Now let's go back, sorry, not the central UI, the product specific UI components. So let's go back to the PPT. So now once we have configured our the central UI and the product specific UI components, now we have to configure our backend server. So to configure our backend server, we have to first set up the roles, we have to set up the users, and we have to set up the authorizations. So the transaction which is used for setting up the roles and the users is a PFCG. So basically the SAP delivers the backend PFCG roles for every transactional app and the fact sheets. So these delivered roles comprise the references to the corresponding OData services which are required to use the applications. So based on the OData service reference, authorization proposals of the OData service can be used to create the authorization profiles. So after that we can assign the application users to the adjusted roles. So basically like the users with the specific authorizations are necessary. In most cases the backend users are already existing, and we do have the app specific authorizations. So my SAP delivers the backend rules for every transactional app as well as the fact sheets. So the backend rules for the fact sheets include the authorizations to use the underlying search models and to display the business data from the backend. So we go to the transaction PFCG to assign the roles and the authorizations to the particular users. So let's go back to the system, and I have to log into my backend system this time. So if I go to my backend system, and if I go to the transaction PFCG, so in PFCG basically we have all the roles which are which are provided by SAP as a default roles. So I can choose any of the roles here. So let's say if I want to choose for, I can go for the F4 help, and I can see all the roles which are provided by SAP. So I can see here that there are the different roles for the AP supervisor, account payable, AR supervisor, account receivable. So depending on my requirement I will choose this role. Now I can display it using this display icon, and I can see here what all services are included, what all is included under this role. Similarly, I can go to the authorization, and I can see that are there any authorization, what is the profile name assigned to it, and after that similarly I can go to the user tab, and I can see which all users are using this role. So generally as a best practice, it's not recommended that we should change the default roles. Rather we are always it's always advisable that we have to copy the role. So how we copy it, that we have to click on this, we have to copy role, we have to give the name to this role, and after that we have to click on copy all, So if I do a copy of my existing role, so I am now free to do any changes if I want to do to the default role which is provided by my SAP. Now if I go to the edit here, and if I go to the menu, I'll be able to see all the services which are assigned to this role. If I go to the authorization, I can choose this propose profile name. After that, I can go to the change authorization data, and yes, I want to save this role first. So all these things which we have already seen in a very detailed manner in the previous sessions, so I'm not going into the detail of it. So I'm just providing you the steps which are required for this configuration. So we have to basically click on this generate. After that, we can just click on save and we can go back. Now I can go to the users and I can assign any user from my F4 help to this role. So let's say if I don't know the name of the user, I can just write down star so that it can show up everything which is there. So it is taking time to fetch the user list which is there in the system. So now we can see that all these users are existing in this system. So I can select the user to which I want to assign this role. I can copy it there, and after that I can click on anywhere so that it can pick up the username and the from and to date. I can click on this user comparison, and after that I have to save this. So this way we can copy the existing roles, we can do any changes if we want. After that we can assign this role to the particular user. So let's go back to the presentation again. So these are basically the steps which are involved in the configuration of my backend server. Now after that, the last step is the configuration of my enterprise search, which is basically for the fact sheets only. So this is not required for my transactional apps, rather it is only required for my fact sheets. So the search models delivered for the central business objects are the basis for the fact sheets, which display the contextual information about these business objects. So we can see the up-to-date list of the delivered search models in the SAP node. So there's a number of prerequisites that need to be met before configuring the fact sheets. So the first one is that we have to activate the UI services. After that, we have to create a connection between the embedded search and the HANA track system. Then we have to create the connectors, and after that we have to start the indexing of the connectors. So these are the prerequisites for configuring the enterprise search in the backend system. After that, once we are done with it, then we have to activate the search and the fact sheets in the SAP Business Suite Foundation. So the steps for it are, we have to enable the SAP Fiori search and the fact sheets. So the transaction for this is mentioned in this slide. So we can use this transaction, we have to use this transaction to enable the SAP Fiori search and the fact sheet. After that, we have to enable the fact sheets using this transaction BSCBN HANA navigation, that is a NAV. So these are the steps which are required for the configuration of my search models for my SAP Fiori fact sheet. After that, we have to activate the UI services. So these are the prerequisites which are required. So the first step inside this is the activate UI services. So again, similar to the way we have activated the different services for my the central components and the product specific components, similar way we have to activate the UI services for my search models. So we have to use the transaction SICF. After that, we will be able to see we have to activate the following 7 services, and once these services are activated, so we are done with the activate UI services for my search models. So the same process we have seen like how to activate the UI services, so that's why I'm not going into the transaction again, and I'm not like covering like how we can activate it, because we have already seen it. Now after that, we have to create a connection between the embedded search and the SAP HANA or TREX BWA. So to allow the SAP NetWeaver search and classification, or the SAP NetWeaver Business Warehouse Accelerator and the ABAP system to communicate with one another, we must configure a connection between them. So the prerequisite for this is that we have to install the TREX 7.1 or BWA 7.2 on a separate system. So after that, we have created an RFC connection between the ABAP system for the SAP NetWeaver and the TREX or the BWA system. So this is done using the transaction SE38, and in the program field we have to enter this field. So this is how we have to after that we have to select the RFC connection we previously created and executed. Then we have to assign this role to the plant administrator. So this is basically the steps which we need to use while creating a connection between the embedded search and SAP HANA or BWA or TREX. After that, the next step is that we have to create the connectors. So we create the connectors based on the models which are provided by the applications such as ERP. So these connectors are then used for searching. So the prerequisite for us is that we have the SAP ESH local admin role setup. So the steps to set up this role are that we have to launch the admin cockpit, which is by using the transaction ESH_cockpit. After that, we have to choose create. Then we have to select the required models we want to use with the embedded search, and then we have to choose the create connector. So this way we have to create the connectors. Then we have starting indexing of the connectors. So indexing runs either as the full indexing or as the delta indexing. So this depends on whether or not the underlying model supports the delta transfers and the settings we have defined for indexing. So to make the objects in the connectors available in the search, we have to start or schedule the indexing for the new connectors. So again, in the admin cockpit, we have to choose the connector we want to schedule indexing for, and then we have to choose the activate. So below the object type, we have to select one or more search and the analysis models. Then we can select the start immediately to trigger indexing immediately, or we can schedule for a later time. So in this screen, we can see that we have all these connectors. So if I right click on the connector, I will be able to see this schedule indexing option. So this way we have to start the indexing of the connectors. So these are the prerequisites for configuring my fact sheets. So if I go back to my slide, so these are the 4 prerequisites which are required to have the embedded search technology set up. So once we are done with this prerequisites, after that we have to go to the steps, that is to activate the search and fact sheets in the SAP Business Suite. Now, after that, to activate the search and the fact sheets in my SAP Business Suite, we have to activate the business functions. So my SAP Fiori search and the fact sheets, my SAP HANA search for Business Suite. Then after that, we have to enable the fact sheets. So to activate the business functions, we have these two steps. So after all the prerequisites are met, we need to activate the business functions in customizing for our Business Suite application under my activate business functions. So these are the two steps which are involved inside it, that is the SAP Fiori search and the fact sheets, and then enable the fact sheets. So basically this is the end of this session. So in this session we have seen like how we have to configure the transactional apps and how we have to configure the fact sheets. So we have seen the overview of like what are the steps involved in the installation and the configuration. So the installation steps we have not covered in this session, which we will be covering on later on. Then we have the configuration steps. So we have seen like how we have to configure the SAP Web Dispatcher, what are the steps involved in it. After that, we have seen like how we have to configure the SAP NetWeaver Gateway. Then how we can configure the central UI add-on, how we can configure the product specific UI add-on, and then the configuration of the backend and my enterprise search. So we have the certain prerequisites for each for each one of them, and then we have the predefined steps which we have to follow. So this way we have to configure our transactional systems, the transactional apps and the fact sheets in my SAP Fiori system. So this is the end of this session. So thank you.